Meeple Nation podcast. Wow. Oh, we're starting out great. Meeple Nation podcast, episode 540. Meeple Nation August 2024 news.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
The Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by Game Toppers LLC. The thing that we absolutely adore and love about Game Toppers is that they have something for everyone. Whether you're just looking for a mat to go on top of your table, a table topper solution, something that's modular, or a full table, they have what you need, including all of the accessories and fun little gizmos and gadgets to go with it. Go check them out at GameToppersLLC.com.
We are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I'm Nathan Howard.
I'm Andy Holiday.
And I am Douglas Stewart.
Meeple Nation has a website. It is full of Meeple Nation goodness. While you're out there perusing the interwebs, click on over and check out MeepleNation.com. Look at all of our past episodes. You can find extra information goodies on us. You can email us. You don't necessarily need to do that from the website, but you can email us from any of your favorite browsers at meeplenation@gmail.com. While you're at the Meeple Nation website, you can find our Patreon link. We love our patrons. They make so much possible for the podcast, and we appreciate them very much, especially you, Dave. That's meeplenation.com.
I didn't get the reference.
Dave just bumped his Patreon pledge.
Yes, big thank you to Dave. We appreciate that so much.
Yeah, Dave, you're great. Thank you. All right, so speaking of greatness, what have you guys been playing that has met that expectation of greatness this week?
The expectation of greatness?
Yes. I have played something that has met that expectation.
Have you? Let's hear about it. I hope it was a game that I thought was greatness too.
It probably, I don't know, it might be. We've played some pretty good games.
We have.
This last week, but this one is From the Moon. We have played this twice now. I wasn't sure if I could have liked it more than after you explained the rules to me. I had a Nathan experience. Like
you almost got giddy?
Like you had with Tiny Turbo Cars.
Yep.
You finished explaining the rules to From the Moon, and I'm like, I already love this game. I haven't even played it yet, and I already love it. And it proved to be true for both plays. It was awesome. It's just one of those that just I have thoroughly enjoyed both plays.
I very much like this game. You have your little rovers that you put on there, your guys you snap in there. I've even tricked mine out. I've put some magnets in mine so that they'll stick in there a little bit easier. I get nervous trying to force them in there. I think eventually somebody's going to break one of my miniatures forcing it into a rover. So I put some magnets in there to hopefully hold them in place. But From the Moon is an amazing game. Fairly recent game out. So it was in my news highlights. But in the highlights, even better. Because this is a great game that is new that we've played. And I think all of us give it a big thumbs up.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the fact that there's just a ton to do. There is, you kind of know what you want to do, and there are multiple paths to get that done, and it's very much an efficiency puzzle.
For sure.
Yeah, there's definitely some brain burn on this one. Now, I haven't played this twice. You guys have played this twice. I just played it the one time. So I would need another play, I think, to decide whether or not I really liked it or not. There was a lot there for me that I really did enjoy. The mechanisms and decision-making space I thought were really, really good. I think for the one play that we had, the game kind of hit a certain inevitability point where the end was sort of, you could see it, and then it kind of went just a little bit longer than I would have liked once that point got hit. That could also just be because I didn't play it very optimally or, made bad choices. So I don't know. Like I didn't feel competitive in that game. I need to just try it again and see if I could try a different strategy or do something a little different.
Andy won both games, so he really liked it. But I very much enjoyed both my plays. Quality of the pieces are great. Little guys that you drop in there, you're adding your specialist flags on their backpack to denote that they're more special than the others. All of it works together really well. And for a retail version,
Yeah, it's really good.
It had Kickstarter quality for a retail version.
For
so
sure.
I was very pleased with that.
Yeah. I think the rovers were my favorite part. And in particular, the astronauts that you can put in the rovers, they come in 3 different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And each rover can hold 3 astronauts. So you could load a rover with all the same color, or you could diversify it a little bit, switch it up. And so you kind of have to decide whether you want your rovers to specialize, like they can do one thing and do it really well, or if they need to be a little more diversified to be able to grab a variety of resources and perform a variety of actions.
Right.
And I think I'm leaning toward, after just one play, I'm leaning toward I think the diversification route is probably the best way to go.
I think so.
But also, it can lead to some really great turns when you've got, multiple astronauts of the same color that are able to do a whole lot in that color when you place them out on the board. So
I think that is more rare than having multiple
I agree.
variety of cubes at a location that you're going to go pick up.
That was my observation too. So yeah, really good though. I did like From the Moon.
One of the aspects that I enjoyed the most is the asymmetry. So there are asymmetrical player powers that you have and asymmetrical starts. And I thought the game played very differently both times because playing a different faction definitely increases the replayability. And I really like when a game does that, when it can kind of guide you into and playing completely different based on your specific asymmetrical start. Changes the game for you. Yes, you're kind of taking the same actions, but how you're doing those actions and exactly what you're going for changes because of that specific power that you have. They nailed that really well. Time will tell as we play more plays of this as to whether or not the asymmetrical powers are balanced. Oh, I hope that they are, but time will tell on that because that's something that's hard to balance, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like how the game has 2 kind of end game triggers. The game isn't played in rounds, but it kind of is use my air quotes there, it's a round tracker that progresses, and once one player progresses off the end of that track, that triggers the end game. Or there are 3 ships that you are trying to build. Once construction completed on that ship, it blasts off. Whoever committed the most help to building that ship is going to get some big bonus points there. But the game ends when all 3 of those ships take off or a player gets off the end track. And I thought for sure every game that we played that it was going to be somebody getting off the end of the track. Both times that we've played, and by quite a long ways, it has been we've launched those ships before anybody's even in the last section of that track. So I thought that was interesting. It was not the way I expected it to go. I was expecting quite the reverse of that, but I was very pleased with it. From the Moon is an excellent game.
Great game.
Fantastic. Well, the game that I wanted to talk about was one I was actually pretty excited that we finally got played. So in 2022, we took a little jaunt to Texas to BGGCon. While we were there, Gray Fox Games was selling the upgraded Kickstarter version of a little game called Arcana Rising. Put stars in all of our eyes, and I think we picked up multiple copies. I picked up a copy. Nathan, you picked up one.
I kickstarted it.
Oh, you had kickstarted it. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you had purchased it there.
No, I kickstarted it.
So it was just
But
stars.
I don't kickstart stuff.
Yeah, that's right. You don't kickstart things. So it was just stars in my eyes. Well, anyway, you had a copy, I had a copy, and both copies have been sitting on the shelves for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I keep meaning to get to it. And in the back of my head, I was like, I got to beat Nathan to that rule book. Got to beat him. And I didn't. You got me. So the other night we were here for Nathan's game night. We sat down. He taught us how to play Arcana Rising, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It doesn't seem like a very presumptuous game. It doesn't have a huge presence, I don't think, and it's in a relatively unassuming box with some generic fantasy art on it. But underneath that fairly bland facade is, I think, a pretty quality game that's worth playing. I had a really good time. This is one of those games, it's a drafting game, so everybody's playing at the same time. There's not a ton of player interaction, and it can lead to some of that everybody thinking and not really talking and interacting at the table. However, it's a really fun puzzle to solve, and there are tons of avenues to score points, different colors that represent different magical, alchemical ingredients. And as the game goes, you're drafting cards that will make your ability to collect those ingredients better, and you're essentially building like a scoring engine with the cards that you collect for each ingredient. Play 3 rounds. Each round had 6 drafts. So, I mean, it's 18 rounds. It's 18 cards that you're going to add to your tableau, and then the game's done. So it was fast. I thought that it had some good crunch to it. I actually enjoyed the art on some of the cards. The components were nice, updated Kickstarter, or upgraded, I should say, Kickstarter version. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad that I have this one on the shelf, and I would like to play this one some more.
I was really pleased with this game as well. It was one that I played through it by myself, player in each hand. I was a little bit let down. And then when I played it with, I think we had a full count. I think we'd gone up to 6 players.
Yep.
And it was very enjoyable, I found. The second play, there was more game to it than I had expected. I don't know if you recall, as I was explaining it, I was like, here, let's play this one, guys. And then we all had fun. So yeah. I was very pleased. My experience was tainted, I guess, playing solo because I knew what the other person was doing, and I was just trying to maximize points on either hand. But when you're learning the game, I find that that's usually the way I try to do it. I was pleased with it. The second game, I was pleased with it. The first game, I was like, okay, this is going to be a one and done. But after that, I think it's one that I'm going to keep. I had a blast with it.
Absolutely. And it falls into that nice little 30 to 45 minute filler game category. And it's always nice to have a few of those on the shelf.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was real easy to teach, real easy to grasp, and then very accessible.
Absolutely.
So I have to apologize. A while back, we were talking about the Spiel des Jahres nominees, and it was before SkyTeam was awarded the winner of the Spiel des Jahres. And I had said that we'd gotten the opportunity to play SkyTeam. We had the opportunity to play In the Footsteps of Darwin. And I had played, at that point, I had played one play of Captain Flip. And I felt that Captain Flip was way too easy and not very fun.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Oh, really?
I'm going to change my opinion on that.
Are you?
100%. Yes. Took the opportunity to teach it to my 90-year-old mother and my daughter Ashley and her boyfriend. This is simple enough. My mom usually scoots away when the game hits the table. All right, you're here. Let's just try this. It was not an easy teach for her, but once we got it to the table, she actually very much enjoyed it. And my daughter Ashley thoroughly loved this game. And so we sat down, we played 4 games of it straight.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was something that we could just go to again and again and again. It didn't get stale. It's a very simple game, 4 mats that you're going to play on, and each mat has 5 columns, and you have a bag full of 9 different pirates. You're going to reach in there, and you're going to pull out a tile. The catch is you can't look at the backside of the tile. So you have a tile, and then you have to evaluate, am I going to use this tile? And I can put it in the bottom of any one of my columns or on top of a tile that is already there. If I don't want that, then I can choose to flip that tile. And on the other side of the tile is a different pirate. And then I can put that pirate down. I must put that pirate down. I don't have the opportunity to go back to the first one. So I have to either decide if I want to do that one, the first one, or I have the option for the second one. And just the variety of ways to score some points. You get bonus points for completing some columns. Very simple. And I very much enjoyed this game. And I have to apologize to Captain Flip and say, you're not a bad game after all.
I think Captain Flip accepts your apology.
I hope so. Hope I didn't hurt his feelings or her feelings too much, because it turns out Captain Flip is a pretty fun, simple little game.
Yeah, and you keep using the word simple, and honestly, it can't really be overstated just how simple this is. This is not a complicated game at all, but it's a great little family weight game, and I think very much deserving of the Spiel des Jahres nominee nod.
After playing it several times, I agree.
Do take some issue with some of those nominations over the years. I don't always agree, and I don't know that this was like their strongest pick that they could have made. However, I do get it. There's some wisdom in the choice that they made, even though this just seems like almost like a little kid's game. There's something there that I think is enjoyable and fun. And especially like you're saying, that family, 4 families, family weight style game, I think it works really well.
And that's what the Spiel des Jahres is all about, a game that fall into that category. Actually, now that I look at it, I think SkyTeam was maybe a little too complex for that, because it's usually a lighter game. And SkyTeam is a really easy game to teach and play too, but there's a lot to eat with SkyTeam. It's so easy to lose that game, and it takes a lot of skill, time, patience to plan out, and you can't communicate in SkyTeam. Captain Flip, completely different, very easy, very approachable, very accessible. Even in the Footsteps of Darwin was, well, I think in between the two. Footsteps of Darwin lasts a little bit longer, but they weren't on my highlights. Only Captain Flip was. So, but Captain Flip, I'm sorry, you're a good game.
Well, I'm glad that you had the opportunity to amend your previous statement.
Yeah.
Well, great. Those are some awesome highlights. And I can't wait for next week to see what we're going to be able to highlight and play in between this episode and the next one.
So coming up at the end of this month, we have SaltCon. SaltCon end of summer. That's something that we look forward to. It's the final of SaltCon event of the year until we invade Bryce Canyon in January. This is kind of the last hoorah of the SaltCon summer. And we usually hit BGGCon, which is in November, and I think that's going to be our last one of the year. We talked maybe possibly going to Icon fall. When is that?
I think it's in October, so we might go check that out. We'll have to see. That one's a busy time, I think, for a few of us, but we'll try to make it if we can.
Right in the middle of a wedding?
11th and 12th. October 11th and 12th.
Yeah, I'll probably be out. I don't want to be murdered in my sleep.
Yeah, I think
You've got a wedding, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
My daughter's getting married the following weekend, so...
I forgot that date got moved. Yes, we will not be going to Icon this year. I do not see that in our future.
Yeah, I don't see it in our future either. So we have to say congratulations, Andy.
Yeah.
Amara's announced that she's getting married, and then she said she wanted to get married outside, and so she said, want to do it now.
Very short window. Well, it was initially going to be September. I'm like, yeah, maybe October, late September. Anyway, they decided, it was kind of hilarious. She's like, I think an outside, like end of October. I'm like, there's no way you're doing an outside wedding in the end of October. It is going to be way too cold.
Not here in northern Utah.
No. But yes, it's maybe we'll be an outside. We picked a venue that we can move everything inside if need be. So we needed to have a little flexibility considering that it's in the fall. But yeah, she seems happy, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah, we're all happy
We're
for
happy
her.
for her as well.
And I guess we're okay with him too.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
But going back to SaltCon at the end of the month, we
Yes.
are going to be hosting and teaching games. So if anybody would like to come and say hi, you could go check out the SaltCon webpage. I think there might still be some tickets available for some of the games that we're hosting. So jump on there and check that out if that's something you're interested in. If not, just come up and say hi. We'll be at the Meeple Nation tables, and we'd love to chat, get to know you a little bit better, and as Nathan likes to say, give you a good, crisp high five.
I do love a good crisp high five, and I am ready and willing to hand those out at any time. Yeah, we're running 20 events there. So we have 6 different teachers, and we tried to get a couple more, but in spring, I think we're going to try to up that ante a little bit and run some more events in spring. Going to be good times. So yes, very much looking forward to that. So if you're there, come say hello. Come sign up for a game. Like Doug said that I said, I'll give you a crisp high five.
Very nice. Well, I'm excited to move on to some news. We do have some news to cover, and there are some exciting games. There's always exciting games. It's a great time to be part of the hobby, and we are going to start by talking about some new game releases. So what is hitting the shelves at the friendly local game store or releasing on the online distributor that you guys are seeing that makes you all kinds of excited?
Oh, there is so much stuff coming out. Seems like we're right here on the heels of GenCon. And so just a sneak peek, not really a peek, but
Preview?
not even really a preview, but our good friend Brian Hirschbeck worked with Mayday Games at GenCon, and so he just barely got back, and he just texted me that, hey, you might be interested in this, that they are getting ready to announce an Oathsworn 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
They teased this. They did like an update pack, so they ran Oathsworn as a Kickstarter, then they did like the 1.5 version as a Kickstarter. When that one wrapped up, they did tease this, but it had absolutely no information at all. So, Nathan, are we saying that we now know some things about Oathsworn 2?
But that's what Brian said, that he's like, they just announced they're getting ready to launch. So,
Oh, I am so excited.
I don't know when almost is. Kickstarters are always volatile that way.
That's true. And that gives us time to finish Oathsworn 1.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta get that one finished for certain.
Can we play Oathsworn 2 at Amara's wedding? Well,
Maybe Oathsworn 1.
or okay, thank you. Can we play Oathsworn 1 at? Can we play Oathsworn at Amara's reception? Do you think your wife will allow you to do that?
You know what? That would probably give my wife an excuse to sit down out of the line. So
Maybe we'll get her to play.
I doubt that. I could see her not being too overly opposed. 'Cause she's like, I don't want to stand up there for 2 hours.
We'll talk tables and seating arrangements later. Make that happen.
That sounds good. Kind of just off the cuff news, but that had nothing to do with what is available on the game shelves.
Not a new release, but exciting news nonetheless.
It's just something that I just got off my phone right now.
Well, I'll start us off. One that I'm really excited about is the new game, The Mandalorian Adventures. And we've talked about this before. If it has Star Wars on it, it's almost an insta-buy for Nathan.
Almost. It
And
comes pretty close.
It certainly piques my interest. I think it piques yours, Andy. Anytime you
does.
see that Star Wars logo, we're all pretty big fans.
Well, it piques my interest and makes me leery at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. There's always that worry that you're going to pay the quote-unquote nerd tax and that the game won't be good, but they got your money. So, oh well, too bad.
they're
It's so
happy.
sad, right?
I will say this, that many of the Star Wars themed games that have come out recently have actually been really good. So it makes me
Bounty
Yeah.
Hunters.
it makes me a little less leery just because they have really been quite well done.
Yeah.
And it's not just a skin to get sales.
I agree. And from what I hear, so early reviews are out. I haven't had a chance to play this one yet. It is on shelves, so you can go get it. But from what I hear, this one is also quite good. I think a lot of people were a little bit worried because it only comes with 4 maps. I guess there's only 4 adventure stories to play through. But apparently, as you play through them, there's a bunch of unlockable content. So a ton of stuff unlocks, and it opens up all new missions. So you still play on the same geographic map, like the map that the game comes with, but you play different missions and you have different objectives and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know exactly how that system works, but apparently they've built in quite a bit of replayability into the system and people are really liking it. So I'm excited to get this one to the table.
Yeah, it's got a lot of hype behind it. So I am thinking that it's not going to be a nerd tax. Very much looking forward to pulling this off the shelf and getting it played.
Fantastic. Nate, I have a question. Talk to me a little bit about ARX. ARX is hitting the shelves. It was on your list here. I'm hearing good things about ARX.
I'm really excited about this. My wife works with one of her coworkers, which is kind of weird that she works with one of her
Yeah,
coworkers.
that was interestingly phrased.
Yeah. So one of my wife's coworkers was very excited, and I believe he backed ARX, and he was just keeps asking if we've played it. We haven't played it yet. Just starting to hit some shelves. Kickstarters are starting to, most of those Kickstarters are fulfilled now. Started to hit shelves, and there's a scattering of people who've picked it up. If you went to GenCON, there was the opportunity to pick it up there. Our copy is on order, so we're expecting it hopefully any day now. And it looks really good. It's very highly rated, which is an 8.4. Doesn't mean too much, right? Until you've played it.
So here's my question. Have you ordered this one?
Yes, this one's been ordered.
Okay, it is on its way.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's very good. Last Saturday, I was playing Arkham Horror with my good friends, the Deans, and I did notice a copy of this sitting on one of their shelves. I meant to ask him
really?
about it. Apparently, this one's really good, and it uses like a maybe not quite fully trick-taking, but kind of a trick-taking adjacent mechanism to resolve combat and do some of those things. And I really like the Kyle Farron artwork and sort of the idea that it's this, space game, but it's this little more gritty, but also silly at the same time. And I think they pulled that off pretty well. It comes through in the artwork quite well.
Yeah,
So
it does
this
look
is
really good.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
And it does have some negotiation, so hopefully it doesn't shut your guys' interest right off.
I'm done.
That's what I thought.
No,
It's not Moonrakers, but this is one that I am very excited about. It's campaign driven. It's Andy's back in. You got the.
Oh, sorry.
You should be more excited than that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
There's the reaction. I just had to put the quarter in.
Thank you. And it does have some area control, so we'll see how that works out. But it does look really good. Battle card driven, and but yeah, like it does mention that it has some trick taking mechanics in it as well. So it has a long list of mechanics that are in it, and I'm interested to see how it's all going to come together. I mean, I love how hasn't been a ton of new mechanics come into the game hobby lately, but it's always great to see when these
kind of get reused and repurposed in fun and unique ways. That's awesome. Well, hopefully we will hear a lot more about ARCs at a future date.
Yes, indeed.
Now, Andy, I'm seeing a bunch of Marvel United stuff. Do tell.
So, yeah, there's a bunch of Marvel United stuff that's supposed to be out this month. As of right now, I didn't see anything that was particularly in the game stores now, but it is supposed to release this month.
Nice.
That being said, so there is Maximum Carnage that's supposed to be out. The Multiverse Core Pack is supposed to be out. World War Hulk, just that title alone is awesome. And then there's the character card packs that are supposed to be out this month as well. I have never played this game. I know Nathan had a ton of Marvel United at one point.
I did. I had a ton of Doug's Marvel United.
I cold all my stuff to Nathan, and then Nathan cold it all at SaltCon.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys even played any of that?
Yeah, I did. I did. And it actually is a solid little game. I may revisit the core box at some point. The issue for me was that it was just so many boxes.
Yeah.
And so when you wanted to play a game, because a game really plays rather rapidly. Like it's a fast game to play. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you're heaving out 6 big boxes and getting a bunch of stuff out, and everybody's picking their character, and then you got to set up all the cards and do all that. And honestly, like between getting it out, setting it up, and putting it away, you're almost more time doing that than you are playing the game. And that was the issue for me.
I see that. So maybe we did play this. Is this the one where you have the track around the board and different
circle? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, we've played this a couple times. It was fun.
No, it was a good game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It would have been more fun if Hulk would have been out at that point when we played it, because that's who I would have been.
There is a version of Hulk. I think they're doing some multiverse stuff and a bunch of like all the weird different multiverse options and stuff, because there was a Hulk version.
Nice. Anyway, so if you're into Marvel United, there's a bunch of stuff, much more content coming out this month. Hopefully, at least by the end of the month, it'll be hitting store shelves.
So, Andy.
Yeah.
We talked about this a few weeks back, but you talked about Kingsburg.
Yes, I did.
There's a 3rd edition Kingsburg coming out.
Yes. I'm wondering what the difference is. I
haven't looked into it. I just saw that it was Kingsburg 3rd edition, and I thought, I got to put this in there just for Andy, especially since we just talked about it not too long ago. The reading here real quick, it says 3rd edition includes the most recent updated rule book and the best expansion modules developed since the 1st edition. I think it's just kind of a new combined and trim out the fat and keep the good stuff, and maybe update some artwork, it looks like, too.
Yeah, if they come out with any extra content, hopefully they do what they did with 2nd edition and allow just like a pack that you can buy to upgrade your 2nd or your 1st edition of that game. Because I have the 1st edition. We've had it for years, and it still hits it still hits the game table occasionally. Because it's just a great game.
Yeah. I mean, the artwork does look very nice in this. So it does look updated.
Yeah, way better than the original, yes. Yeah.
And looking at the board itself, is still fairly generic to the same. I mean, it's not generic, but it's not eye-popping like the cover is. So.
Well, the interesting thing is I'm looking at the board here as well. I think I actually like the 1st edition board more.
I was actually going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I think the artwork's actually a little bit better on the 1st edition. Now the box itself, I think, this is way superior than 1st edition.
Yeah, but it's a nice entry point for those. I mean, we talked about it. You're not going to find 2nd and 1st edition out there very easily. So if you are excited to play Kingsburg, because it isn't a great game, that sounds like I said it isn't, but that is a great game. So I saw it. I was excited for you, Andy. So I thought I'd throw that on there.
Thanks, Nathan. I'm excited for me too, except for I probably won't get it. I'm holding out for the upgrade pack. Hopefully, if there is new content, right? But yeah, like I said, they did that last time, so hopefully they're going to follow suit with this one. All right, Doug, what have you got for us?
Well, one I'll make mention of here real quick that I was kind of excited to see come back. So this is kind of a restocking of something that's been out for a while, but you can go pick up a copy of Final Girl, the starter set. So this has everything you need in the core box, and it also has Camp Happy Trails with Hans the Butcher and 2 Final Girls to play. So you see all of the content for Final Girl that comes out, and you don't know if it's for you, but you'd like to try it. I think this is a great entry point product. And that Camp Happy Trails, I think, is a really fun introductory scenario to play Final Girl. So that is well worth your time and money and the effort to go check it out if that's something that you're interested in. Final Girl is one of my favorite games. It is a solo only game, which is definitely something that holds it back from becoming higher, from growing on my list, I guess I should say. I wish that there was a way to enjoy this game with multiple players. Like I said, very much worth checking out if Final Girl is something you've ever been curious about.
Forge. It's a worker placement game, strategy game, where you're a blacksmith and you're trying to forge and develop all the tools that are needed in medieval Europe. This is a new one that is just on the shelf over here. I am very much looking forward to getting this off the shelf and onto the table. I like the artwork in this. It just looks appealing. There's some, not necessarily tech trees, but there's trees in it that you're building stuff up, Andy. So that has your name on it.
I do like tech trees, or the equivalent of.
It's not an overly heavy game. Plays in 2 hours about, and goes to 1 to 4 players. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to getting Forge to the table.
So it seems like as the older we get, or our game group anyway, the sweet spot for games tends to be like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And I found a game that is hitting shelves that is 30 to 45 minutes, and it is called Survive the Island. And I don't know how well this would hit with our group, just because it is a little bit cutthroat. So the way it works is there are 40 hex tiles that form the board, and the island is slowly sinking, and you're trying to get your people off the board. Try to get them saved and away from the parts of the island that are sinking. You're doing that by moving your meeples around, and each of those people have a different point value. So you're trying to get your higher point people off the island first to score the most points. And apparently there's a little bit of take that in it. So it may not go over the greatest with our game group, but it kind of depends, I think, on
it does,
on who's at the table and what kind of mood everybody's in, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely right. And depends on how much the cutthroat is too.
True.
If it's pure player attack aggravation, it's going to scare away some of our players. But I'm definitely willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
A shant?
Give it a shant, man. Come on.
Give it a shant.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is a game in the Survive series. There's a few of these games. And Nathan added game night a while back. You and I'm trying to remember who the other player was. There was at least one other person that played with us, but we played, that was Survive Escape from Atlantis.
Yeah. Was it Amara?
It might have been Amara. Yeah. I can't remember.
There was only an app.
Yeah. We could always go to BG Stats and look it up. But as I recall, we both really, I think, quite enjoyed that game, but it is very take that. The take that element is very strong. And we do have a tendency to lean away from those games or only pull them out on occasion. But still, I think that this looks like a great addition to that Survive series.
So another one fairly new, should be on the shelves, is Galactic Renaissance. And when I first saw it, I read Galactic Resistance, but it is definitely Renaissance. It almost has a little bit of build your crew, stay alive type thing, but this is, you're going to build your team, you're going to add specialists, and each member of that team is unique, and it has a little bit of a card deck building element in there with the characters that you're going to put in your cards, and you're just trying to score points faster than your opponents, trying to explore the universe, trying to explore new planets, discover new civilizations, try to get relations with those civilizations that you discover. Kind of a medium weight game, and it plays in that 90-minute zone, which is, I don't mind that at all. 2 to 4 players, fairly high rated at 7.4, but that's Galactic Renaissance.
Very awesome. Another one that I have been very excited that it's finally come out is a game called Evenfall. And I've been excited about this one for a while. The art and components and multi-use cards and all that kind of stuff really drew me into this one. So I pre-ordered it many, many months ago, and it finally came out, and I got my copy in the mail. This has been probably about a week and a half ago. I opened it up, and was getting it ready to play and punching and doing all that kind of stuff, I realized that it was missing some cards.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah. So I reached out to the publisher to try to get some answers, and they kind of gave me the runaround and sent me to a different company. And then that company didn't really respond. And so I finally just I had ordered this game through Miniature Market. So I finally just went back to Miniature Market and said, hey, I got an incomplete copy. What can you do for me? They were like, oh, we'll have those parts in the mail by the end of the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So very, very good customer service from Miniature Market on that. I'm really excited about this game. It's Evenfall, and I don't know what exactly that means, but Evenfall is this big event that happens in this game world. Basically, the boundaries of reality are collapsing and the natural and supernatural are coming together. You play as these covens of witches.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so you're sending your witches out to basically take over places of power and gather resources and perform arcane rites and do all this kind of stuff. But it's all wrapped up in this really great card-driven engine building bow. Is something that I really, really am looking forward to playing. I've heard this game compared to Res Arcana a little bit. Not fully, but like a little bit, like kind of a Res Arcana adjacent sort of thing going on. That makes me excited because I love Res Arcana. Early reviews seem to suggest that this is going to be a really good game. I think the art looks great. Components look good. I'm excited about this game. And I am teaching this at SaltCon. The end of the month. Yeah.
I would like to try it.
Yeah.
Because Res Arcana is wearing thin on me. I don't know if I like Res Arcana.
I know. Here's the thing though, Nathan. For a long time, you didn't feel like you were familiar with Res Arcana. So you didn't want to do the draft because you felt like it was a little unfair.
Right. And maybe we should go back to it now.
So now that you're familiar with the game, now we need to play with the draft because now you can draft to build an engine and it becomes much, much, much better. Because when you just do it all random, you can totally be dealt a dud hand of cards, or at least one that isn't nearly as capable of earning points as the hand one of your opponents got.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a truth to playing Res Arcana. So now that you've played it a little bit, I think the burn is that we need to play with the draft.
I'll have to give that a try next game.
I think so.
I'll try it one more time.
Okay. The other problem is we're also playing it with Corey.
And he's mean.
Yeah, he's mean, and he plays the game a little different. And actually,
he plays it very aggressively, which is an element totally fine with the game.
Yeah. Well, I decided that if we were playing with Corey, after he was really mean the first game we played, I was like, well, I'm going to be mean back this game. So I've been incredibly mean with one of my dragons in particular, and I don't like it.
Yeah, because it doesn't green.
Because playing mean doesn't generate points. So
he still wins.
Yeah, but
except for I won the last time, so yeah.
I was going to say you won the last game.
I did. Yep. And that was I think that was all by fluke, but it worked out.
We'll try it with the draft. Anyway, Evenfall, I hope that it's really good. I have high hopes hitting the shelves now.
Excellent. Star Tycoon, 1 to 4 player games, or it's just a singular game. Star Tycoon, 1 to 4 player game, middleweight again, tycoon style game, roller coaster tycoon, business tycoon. Take the roles of interstellar businessmen, and you're trying to gain victory points, influence planets faster than your opponents. A fairly short game, lots of little mechanisms in there that you're trying to, doing your set collection, trying to master those events and get those end game bonuses. So we just got off that end game bonus episode series. So this is a new game that we can try to fit in there and see how that works out. But it does look not bad. I don't know if that's good, but it's not bad.
Nice. So we have a lot of new game releases coming up. Do we want to move on to some new game announcements?
Let's do it. I'm excited. There are some fun things that have been announced recently.
All right, we've got a long list of some great new game announcements as I'm looking through this, and I'm kind of excited for them.
Yeah, me too.
It's GenCON season, and a lot of new announcements and things hit around GenCON. So I don't know how much time we'll be able to spend on all of these, but there's some fun stuff coming down the pipes.
So I just want to hit out a couple that we've actually talked about in the past, but they should be getting really close to fulfillment. Or not fulfillment, but close to release time. Andy, your Weirwood Manor retail version should be hitting out pretty soon. Heroescape, which I am way excited. The first wave of the new Renegade Heroescape should be hitting shelves really soon. Undaunted 2200.
Yeah.
New installation of Undaunted, but in the future.
Yep. I just watched Rodney Smith's How to Play just to see, like how it differs and stuff. I am very, very excited about this version of Undaunted.
Yeah. Well, I got this one too. So, Doug, I'll be able to play it
Fantastic.
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm just going to maybe put it on the nightstand. So if I get bored, I'm shutting up.
I really want to know where that was going.
If I can't sleep at night, I'm going to get up and play Undaunted 2200.
I love that.
Okay.
Foundations of Metropolis coming out real soon. Should be hitting shelves. And like we mentioned, Star Wars Mandalorian Adventures. Some expansions. I just wanted to rattle off a couple of expansions that are coming out. Millie Fiore, the Masterpiece expansion, just one of them.
Yeah, just one.
Should be coming out real soon. Sky Team Turbulence, just had that announced. So an expansion for Sky Team. Dorf Romantic, Sakura.
It says Dork Romantic.
Dorf. Thank you. Thank you.
I've just noticed the spelling on that.
Yes, Dorf Romantic. And here I was focusing on trying to say Sakura right.
Sakura.
I totally went up with Dork Romantic. Yeah, Dorf, D-O-R-F. Anyways, expansion coming out soon. And White Castle, the matcha expansion. White Castle is one that we haven't gotten to the table, but
I took it home to learn it. I just learned Red Cathedral. We played that one recently. Really liked it. So White Castle, I've opened it and punched it, and I have started reading the rules. But yeah, hopefully soon on that one.
A couple other expansions are Clink Catacombs is coming out with a new expansion. That's Lairs and Lost Chambers. I am so excited about that.
Because this is your favorite Clank.
It is my favorite Clink.
I think it's probably
maybe Clink Legacy is really close.
Yeah.
Clank Legacy was definitely my favorite Clank. Struggling to think of a Legacy game that I had more fun playing. That was just such a fantastic experience playing through Clank Legacy. But Clank Catacombs is wonderful, and I am very excited about this expansion.
Me too. And then I'm actually shocked that there is a Gaia Project expansion coming out.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's not a new game.
No, it's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
But I saw it, and then I thought, well, I didn't put much weight into it. But then you brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I did see that. That does. That was of the Gaia Project and not Mystic Vale.
Terra Mystica?
Terra Mystica. The Gaia Project is one I prefer out of those two.
Right.
So yeah, that's good times.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, I'm excited for this. It's having new factions, 4 new factions in the game, new map features. I mean, it looks actually really good. You get new advanced technologies, 3 new round scoring markers to change how you're scoring points each round. I think it's going to be a cool expansion. It's one I'm going to definitely have to pick up for my copy.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I don't know if you said the name of that, but that is Gaia Project: The Lost Fleet.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, Gaia Project: The Lost Fleet.
Awesome. We're sticking to expansions here for a minute. I have one that I'll throw out there.
I'm looking at your notes here.
I don't even know what to say or do anymore. This is Dune Imperium. It's coming out with another expansion. This is Dune Imperium Bloodlines. Okay. The thing that I don't get, Dune Imperium's a great game. It's fantastic. I just don't understand this release model. I don't understand what they're doing. Like you had Dune Imperium, then you had 2 expansions for that. Then we're going to go back, and instead of adding an expansion or something you could mix in, or modules or anything like that, we're now just going to do like essentially Dune Imperium 2.0 with Dune Imperium Uprising. That is its own standalone experience, but also you can mix and match it with the other core box and its expansions, sort of, if you follow all the instructions in the rulebook on how to make that all happen. Anyway, Dune Imperium Bloodlines coming next year. Apparently, this is an expansion that is compatible with both of the games, so you can mix it with either the first game or Uprising. I just think at this point, the game has just become so convoluted in its product lineup.
Yeah, and pulling the wingspan.
Not quite.
Well,
yeah, you're right. This is still fun.
I don't know if I would quite go there. But for me, it's become very confusing. And when I pull the boxes off, I'm just left going, okay, I don't know. It's not clear to me what I need to mix and match to play this game anymore. I think that's what's frustrating about it, is that it needed to just be kind of a clean lineup of products, and instead everything's muddled. Now, for other people, maybe this makes total sense and this is not a problem at all. Maybe this is just a strictly Doug problem. I don't know. But for me, I don't understand this at all. I'm still going to buy it.
Well, I still haven't even played Uprising, so I need to get that to the
I liked
table.
Uprising. I thought Uprising was really good.
I did too. I actually think Uprising should have been what Dune Imperium, the original one, should have been. Didn't really have sandworms in the original Dune Imperium, whereas you have sandworms in Uprising. I think that's really what it should have been to begin with, but
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
The addition of the spies was brilliant.
Yeah, that too. Yep, for sure.
They did some really great things with that. Anyway, Dune Imperium Bloodlines coming next year, so that's another one that just got announced. Also, sort of a semi-expansion. So if you guys recall, we played Queen by Midnight. This was one that I got really excited about based on the theme mostly alone and the fact that it was a deck builder. We played it. It was incredibly Take That. It was all Take That. And sort of a weird sort of Take That because it didn't really seem to give you a direction on who you needed to attack or why. It was just sort of a free-for-all and didn't have, I think, some of the deck building tools that we were expecting it to. So it felt just a little bit flat. I ended up calling that game. But they do have another version of this. This is a standalone expansion. This is Queen by Midnight Quarter Past. You can play it on its own. It has 4 characters that you can play, so it will only play 4 as opposed to the original, which would play up to 6. You can play it on its own, or you can combine it with the original game, have some epic Queen by Midnight experience, I guess.
But this one doesn't have the cool clock tower.
It does not.
Table presence of Queen by Midnight was awesome, I thought.
It was very, very good.
This, they took out all the cool and left you the cool mechanics still, but not the cool table presence.
Yeah.
Have to give it a try.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I might be done with that particular product lineup, but we'll see.
So I always find it interesting that a game theme comes out and all of a sudden there's several games that are kind of tied to that same theme. Movies do the same thing, right? Where there's a movie comes out.
Themes come in packs,
Yeah.
right? The
seems to.
products.
A theme like that happens. Started to see more of that happening within board games when a theme comes out. Like we see a lot of these, not necessarily the same, but they're based on that and Earth, but going to Aqua and aquatic games along that. We just got through being super excited about Roll and Write Records.
Wait, we got through being excited about
Well,
it?
I guess
Are we over
that
it?
was poor
Yes.
words. No, I'm definitely not over. I'll play Draft and Write Records almost any day of the week. But there is a new game that's called On the Road, taking your band on the road. And another one that is getting a lot of hype is Rock Hard 1977, where you're going from April to December. You're trying to create your band, get your hype up, create songs. And this Rock Hard look straight out of the 70s. Funny how that theme, one designer starts using it, and then pretty soon everybody's like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. I can do it better.
Yeah. And this one is kind of fun, though, because this one was designed by Jackie Fox, member of the 1970s rock band, The Runaways.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with The Runaways. That doesn't mean too much to me, but this is a legitimate from the 70s band member who designed this game. Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but it does look pretty good. 45 to 9 minutes, mid-weight game. But yeah, I just think it's funny. You get these themes, and then they start reoccurring.
So, gentlemen, I am incredibly excited about the Unmatched system and their recent announcement. Unmatched was getting to the point where I thought I was done with it. I have a lot of it, and it doesn't get played quite as much as I would like. And then, of course, they have to go and announce Unmatched Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I did see that.
And I'm very, very excited about this. I grew up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I really, really can't wait. Now, what's super exciting about this is that this is not just one of the hero packs that comes with maps and stuff. This is an Unmatched Adventures game. So in the first Adventures game, that game came with 4 new characters that you could play, and it had the board where you could play cooperatively against the Martian invasion or against the Mothman. In this one, you can play as the 4 Ninja Turtles, and I'm assuming you can take on Shredder or Krang or Bebop and Rocksteady or any of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villains. I'm not sure which ones. I don't know that they've announced that yet, but I'm very, very excited about this. I'm also excited to bring the other characters in to fight Shredder and said villains.
Right.
Because you can take any of those characters and
Run
bring them
through
in.
the adventure.
Yeah. Also, might be kind of fun to just grab some of the turtles and let them fight each other on some of the other maps. The potential there is very exciting for me.
I like the idea of Unmatched. I think Unmatched just turned into very similar to, like we were complaining about, Marvel United. where there's just so much. But Unmatched is a little bit different, where you can just grab a box and say, okay, I'm using this person. Unlike Marvel United, where you're trying to get content from several boxes. Well, I mean, I guess it's still the same situation if I want a hero from that set or that set. Yeah.
Sort of. If they're just sitting on the shelf, though, you just say, okay, which character do you want to play? You grab that box, you just grab the character and you play. Really isn't that bad. And the thing about this is that setup is lightning fast. You throw the map out, you put your figure on it, you shuffle your deck, you're ready to play. I still really like Unmatched. It is starting to wax a little thin for me, but maybe this will breathe some new life into it.
Hopefully.
So I've been seeing a lot of ads on social media about this game, Pantheon Demigods of Olympia, and they are comparing it to a combination of, I don't want to hear anything about this until I finish, Nathan.
Okay.
A combination of Wingspan and Small World. So there's an element of area control in it like you have in Small World. You have the card powers and everything that is similar to Wingspan. I say it's similar to Wingspan, but there are games, Nathan, I know that are similar to Wingspan that you do like
very much enjoy Raising Robots.
Raising Robot and Wormspan.
I haven't played Wormspan yet.
I think you'll like it.
I do too.
It looks kind of interesting. It has its Greek mythology themed. I think it could be pretty cool. I like Small World. It's hard for me to find people that are willing to play it. It's one of the few area control games I actually enjoy playing.
Only an okay game for me, but I do get why people like it. It's the combos, right? All the combinations of the races that you can be and the different ways of trying to time when you put them in decline. And
right. I guess that's the cool thing about it is you put them into decline and that you start fresh with a new combo. If I think of Risk, right, which is like the first area control game I ever played, I would play this with my brothers and my sister, and we beat my sister all the way back till she was in the Middle East, and then we would stop and just leave her with one army and then stop attacking her. And she'd get so mad at us. In this case, you actually come in fresh. You can put your combination of the creatures you're playing in decline, and then you come in with fresh creatures with a different power. And like you said, Doug, the combinations are fun. It stays fresh and doesn't get stale, just even while you're playing the game. I think that's why I like it as far as an area control. And there's that element to it, but it doesn't seem to be as painful because you're going to have that fresh start, come in with something new.
Yeah. So if this Pantheon game can sort of capture the fun of that and combine it with some of the good card play and maybe some of the tableau building of Wingspan, that has some real potential for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
I like that quite a bit. I wanted to get your take on a game that was recently announced. This is by Open Owl Studios. Now, they are the ones that did Stars of Ikarios, which is a game that we really like. They also did Mythwind, and they have Stone Saga coming out soon. But they just announced a game called Storyfold Wild Woods. I believe that this is actually hitting crowdfunding soon. I'm fairly certain that that's the case. It's a narrative adventure game, but it's a solo only. So it's from a studio I like. The art looks good. I really am compelled by this idea that it's, a narrative adventure game. And then you go out and say one player only. And I just go, I don't know if that's a risk I'm going to take on crowdfunding.
Yeah, I totally get you. But you've had great success with Final Girl.
I have, but kind of said earlier in the episode, one of the reasons why Final Girl, I don't know that Final Girl would ever make like a top 10 game for me because it is solo only. While I do play games solo from time to time, they need to be games you can have fun at the table with other people, with friends, right? Especially if it has like a great story and if it's this adventure game, I want that experience to be shared. I don't want to just do that by myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but there are a lot of people that I think are really going to like this, and it is Open Owl Studios, and I think they do good work. So far, I've really been impressed with the stuff that they've done to see what happens with this game.
So there's another one, Witchcraft, which is a one-player game. Looks fairly interesting, and I'm going to go through a couple of these pretty quick. 1 to 2 players, you have Ironwood, and one that's getting a lot of hype recently is Star Trek Captain's Chair. And so both of these, that 1 to 2 player games, I like SkyTeam, and I've enjoyed playing SkyTeam, but I think I enjoy SkyTeam on BGA because a lot of those games I play on BGA are just with one other person.
See, and I'm a little torn because for me, a lot of the fun of something like SkyTeam is sort of the tension of, well, are we going to do it? But it's that tension that takes place as you play the entire game at the table at once. With BGA, when you're taking turns just whenever, that tension isn't really there. You're just kind of going through the mechanisms of like, well, I place this die here. That sort of fear of crashing the plane, or like I said, the tension, I guess is probably the right word, that you get when you play it at the table is just not there at all.
And I've talked about that in the past, games having a level of anxiety that brings out the fun.
The healthy anxiety.
Yeah. Some of these games are less likely to hit the table around here because they are just a 1 to 2 player.
I agree.
And it's very rare that we have 1 to 2 players. I don't want to commit a whole shelf to 1 to 2 player games. Although I think I am considering reorganizing my game shelves with putting my 1 player games, 1 to 2 player games in an area, my party games my fun games in a different area, my game night games in a different area.
You keep saying that word.
Yeah.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Oh, it does.
No.
Last 2 on my list that I wanted to cover, I'll just go over these really quick. Spectacular, which does look like a spectacular game. It looks very, very good. I like the art and the dice and components on this one. It feels a little bit like maybe an Ark Nova Light kind of game where you're building out an animal park. You talk about themes coming in packs. This seems like it's one of those kind of situation. I'm thinking of like Ark Nova and New York Zoo and some of those that have come out recently. The other one that I wanted to make mention of was Misfit Heroes. And I just wanted to bring this one up because this is a lightweight game from Alder Rock Entertainment Group and by designer Phil Walker Harding. And I have just really come to appreciate the light Phil Walker Harding games. And this looks like a pretty cool one.
Nice.
So I wanted to end my list with some fun games. So Link City, Caution Signs. Those are some new fun games out there, more on the party side. But I think I'm actually going to end my game off on the heavy side. And I mean the heavy side. Minos, Dawn of the Bronze Age. It has a weight of 3.8. Civolution has a weight of 4.10. And Senkor, the Pride of Mansa Musa, has a 4.11. And Dust of Rebellion has a 4.11 as well. Red Dust Rebellion. I don't dislike hard games, but a lot of these hard games have a pretty steep learning curve. I have some reservations about Voidfile. We're going to get that to the table soon. But I look at this game like Red Dust Rebellion, 4.11, and it has a 2 to 4 hour playtime. There's no way I'm going to get this to the table. If you're playing with new players, tax an extra 2 hours on there. If the game will keep me involved and, it's not 20 minutes between my turns, I'm totally down. Even 10 minutes even 5 minutes between my turns. If it's that long, if I can leave and come back and it's still not my turn, that's terrible. And I just see that in a lot of these games. So I think that's why I tend to shy away from these games. Again, I'm looking at Voidfall. I think Voidfall is going to be awesome. Voidfall is very high up there as well. But it's just sometimes these heavier games, especially with our group, and I guess it's not necessarily even our group, especially with me, with my ADD, I make it hard to play.
All of these games look good in their own right and in different ways. We'll have to see what reviews come in and what people say about them, and maybe some of these would be worth checking out.
Yeah, of the ones I'm most excited about is Civolution, which is the 4.08 Civilized Evolution type game. It looks pretty cool.
A good game with a good brain burn. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I just think I agree, Nathan. When there's that steep learning curve, it almost seems like it's a better experience if everyone's learning at the same time. Like, for example, I'm going to go back to one of my heavier games, which is Cooper Island. Using that example, you played that the first time, and we all had played once.
And it was obvious.
And it was very obvious.
Yeah.
Right? And then we played again, and it was once again obvious that you'd only played once and we had played twice.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that all heavy games have that issue.
Right.
But I do think that is probably more common than not in those heavier games, just because of that steep learning curve and the complexity of
somebody has to know the rules.
Right.
Frustrating thing too is when you're learning a game together and there's the rule debate the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to take half a turn and I got to look up a rule. And while you're looking it up, everybody else is like, well, can I do this? We got to look up this. And that rule book just goes round and round the table, and the turns do not go round and round the table.
That's true. That's when you look at the rule book when it's not your turn.
Yeah. Sometimes those games that still slows everything down, or it's my turn and there's something like, well, I want to do this, but I got to see how it works. Those make me want to choose a different hobby. But I'm too invested.
I get it. I mean, I do understand where you're coming from. I have pretty strong feelings about one person coming prepared to teach that whole thing. So I
I'm
don't
sitting
like.
right here.
No, I mean, you're very good at that, Nathan. I'm just saying I don't like the cooperative learn kind of situation.
Yeah,
For sure.
No, I agree. Played with strangers at conventions. They're like, "Hey, we need a player." I'm like, "Great, I'll sit down." And then they start reading the rule book.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like,
That's the
You're
worst.
like, I'm out.
and I'm like, I can teach. I've played this. I can teach you how. No, we're gonna read it.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Especially when they have someone who knows how to teach. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. My gosh, yeah.
I'm like, this is
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
too
awesome.
much. But some people really enjoy that experience,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to
Not
take
gonna
that away
take
from
it
them.
away
It's just
from
not
them,
for me. Yeah.
I get that.
Okay, hey, this episode is going long, and we want to talk about just a couple of crowdfunding games really quick.
Before we do that, I do have one final one I want to talk
Go
about.
for it, Andy. Yep.
And this one's supposed to release in 2025. It's called Fest Season. Players are going to hire bands, build a venue to organize the best music festival. This is a Euro-style game. There's actually a lot of mechanisms in this, but it's an economic, territory-building, music-themed game.
Back to that music theme you were
Yeah,
talking
It
about.
is, yeah. It's kind of crazy. Hand management, there's drafting, contracts, resource management, a lot of different stuff that's going on in this game. Ultimately, you're just trying to build a better venue than your opponents.
And it's only 100 minutes, so that's doable.
30 to 100 minutes long, 1 to 5 players. We'll see as more information comes forward with this since it's a 2025 release.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. All right, let's jump to some crowdfunding real quick before we sign off.
So some people might be really excited to hear that Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation is coming back to Kickstarter. It's actually coming back to GameFound. So it is coming back to crowdfunding, I guess I should say. This is a Reiner Knizia designed Lord of the Rings themed game. Apparently it's really good. And I've heard that it's a bit like Lord of the Rings Stratego, only better and fun. So, no, I don't think this is a super heavyweight game. If you do like the good Dr. Reiner Knizia and you enjoy Lord of the Rings theme, this might be one worth checking out. Also, another one that definitely caught my eye. And, we talk about the themes of games and how we see a lot of them all coming out. So this one, I guess, is technically an aquatic theme game, but this is a fishing themed game, which is not something that I see very often. And the art and gameplay in this one really caught my eye. This is called The Fisherman, and this is going to be launching on GameFound in about 11 days as of this recording. So that'll be 8 or 9 days from the time that this episode releases. Basically, it has kind of a push your luck aspect of it where you're going out into the different ocean zones and you're trying to catch the biggest, meanest, best fish. And I think you have some objectives on what you're trying to catch. Real strategic part of the game where you're essentially trying to manage your fuel, because the deeper you go out into the ocean, the more fuel you spend and you could get stuck. Also, the more weight you have on your boat because of all the fish you've caught, the more fuel it takes to move around. Kind of an interesting strategy there. The art looks really good. I could definitely go for a really great fishing game.
Yeah, the artwork does look pretty good, but to do a point counterpoint on you, a new lure game that's out there too, that's all about fishing.
I don't know what lure is. You say new lure game? Like
Lure.
So,
Yeah,
lure,
like a
right.
fishing lure.
Right. So implying that there's an old lure game?
There actually is, yes. But this is a new game, also fishing related.
Cool.
Lure 2024.
All right.
It's got pretty poor rating though.
Okay.
So if you're going to pick up the two,
All right. So not much of a counterpoint there, but go check out The Fisherman on GameFound coming soon.
Also on GameFound, it's actually launching tomorrow as of this recording. When you're hearing this for the first time, the campaign will actually be open and you can go in and kickstart this if you want to, or GameFound this, back it, whatever you want to say.
Crowdfund it? Sure.
Crowdfund it. It's called The Cats of Mont Saint Michael. This is a campaign game, so you are trying to defend the monastery from the infestation of rats and cockroaches. It's a dungeon crawl, playing over several different sessions to complete the story and complete the campaign. You're leveling up, everything else. That being said, the playtime for each scenario is 20 to 40 minutes.
interesting.
So very manageable to get through a campaign when it's 20 to 40 minutes to get through one session. So that kind of intrigued me a little bit, kind of a silly, interesting theme to it. Of course, it's campaign, so that draws my attention too. It's rated as of right now 8.2. None of that means anything because very few people, I'm sure, have played it. And
This reminds me a lot of Mice and Mystics. Only this one
Yeah.
looks a little better.
Yeah.
I have to say, this looks like a better version of that.
Yeah, it has some cardboard cutouts, and then it has some miniatures as well. That whoever painted these did a phenomenal job.
I'm not a cat person, but the Cat Pirates is pretty fun.
yeah,
I've enjoyed Mlem too.
Yeah.
Cat
yeah. Mlem's been pretty good. So, well, that one looks pretty interesting, Andy. I hadn't seen that one before, so it looks pretty cool. Okay, so the last one that I wanted to make mention of here real quick, also on GameFound, is one called Norseman. This was just giving me some really strong Reavers of Midgard vibes. Looks like kind of a fun Viking or Norse mythology themed type of game. Has those wonderful multi-use cards that I really, really like. Just looks like it could be a ton of fun. I need to look into this one just a little bit more, but that one will be launching on GameFound in about a week and a half.
I really like the artwork. I like the artwork where the boat is there, and it looks kind of almost incomplete art, but I really like that style. It looks really good.
I love this theme. The Norse theme is really cool.
Yeah, it is a big theme for you. I know for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, and this one does look good. The cards, the art on the cards and everything looks really good. Color palette looks fun, vibrant, well readable. I think there might be some fun game to be had here.
Oh, yeah, looks interesting. So Norseman on GameFound. Wow, that was a lot of news.
It was.
We still left some on the table, so bummer.
That's okay. We had lots of great stuff to talk about, and there is a lot of stuff coming our way, which is super exciting.
Yep, I always love post GenCon week because there's always extra stuff.
The hype really ramps up after GenCon.
It does, yeah.
With all the announcements and new goodies to play with. So
Yep, and all those people that went to GenCon with a backpack and came home with 6 bags.
everyone who flew there with multiple empty suitcases so that they could fly home with them packed full.
And still had to buy extras. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds like you've had that experience before, Andy.
Shut up, Doug. Jeez.
I seem to remember coming home from BGGCon one year that...
No, it wasn't just 1 year.
It wasn't just 1 year. Got a whole collections of bags this time.
It happened last year, too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it that the BGGCon hotel, the Hyatt there in Dallas, has a FedEx place there that I'm sure multiple people are like, well, I'm just going to mail this stuff that I bought home.
Yep, for sure.
And I wonder if they have something like that at GenCon, because if
I'm
they don't,
sure
they
they
should.
do.
Oh, totally.
Positive that they do.
Yeah.
They have to have something like that.
But anyways, good times. Lots and lots of news. So let us know what we missed. Let us know what GenCon games you thought we should have talked about. Let us know what is coming out that you're way excited about it. Let us know your favorite color.
Blue, no.
Ah.
Until next time.
We'll see you at the game table.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_Nation, or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.